Oh,
It's
we're live.
Anatevka.
And I can tell it to you in a word. Tradition. Right? That music always gets me, and then we pop in live. I love it. Boker Tov, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Everyone.
My name is David Eshel. I'm one of our rabbis here at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. I am on the screen with the one, the only Cantor, Lisa Peicott. Ugh, so wonderful to be here with you, Cantor Peicott. This is the best. It always makes me so happy. I look forward to it all the time. It's the best. And also behind the scenes, we have Jess and Tess, who are going to be taking care of us digitally and technologically.
It's
Tessica. You know, I mean, that's cool. I like that. Oh, we got Phyllis is saying Boker Tov. Phyllis, Boker Tov, right back at you. And this is just so fabulous having everybody around. You know what I always say about that? Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How wonderful it is that we get to be here together as friends and family to celebrate Shabbat.
טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, 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 שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה ליי 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 ליי. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה ליי 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 ליי. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Beautiful. Yo, for those of you who have books with you or you've printed out pages or whatnot, I'm going to call out the page numbers just to be helpful, right? And if not, if you don't have a book, that's okay too, right? Because we're just going to jump right into the prayers. And for the prayers, if you don't know the words to them yet, keyword being yet, right? Because the more that you join us, the more you'll learn. Yai dai dai, yai bye bye, yai lai lai. All of those Jewishy sounding sounds, they work just as well for your prayers at home. And why don't we just jump right in? We're going to continue with Nisim B'chol Yom, the miracles and the blessings of the everyday. If you have your books at home, we're on page 174. Otherwise, we'll just continue together. I believe they may even be up on the screen. I'm not sure. Yes! Whoa! Speaking of miracles and blessings of the everyday, look at that. It's a miracle. I love it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir sheina me'nai, u'tnuma me'af apai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorin.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen. Can you put that last blessing back up there for a second? Yes, I love this one. So this is one of my favorite blessings, and it's all because of a couple of second graders. This is one of my favorite blessings because of one of the second graders. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who sanctifies us with commandments. And get ready for this. It says, our translation, and commanded us to study Torah. So, la'asok, great word, asuk, esek, right? All these words. La'asok means to busy oneself. Asukah, right, means that, or ani asuk means I'm very busy. Or esek means like business. Right. So I love the translations like, yeah, let's get busy with some Torah. But a second grader said to me, oh, I know what this is about. It's like we're supposed to soak ourselves in Torah. Right. So thank you, God, for giving us the opportunity to soak ourselves in Torah. Isn't that a beautiful image? Right. This idea of just like, it's like for me, it looks like it reminds me of going to the beach. And you know that the water is going to be a little cold, right? You know the water is going to be a little cold. It looks a little choppy in the waves. And you're there and you're just kind of like working yourself up to go, right? You're working yourself up to go. And you know it's going to be cold. And you're just, I'm just going to do it. And you run and then you dive right in. Have you done that before? You've all done that before. Just run, jump right into that water and you pop out. And you're like, oh, so refreshing and exhilarating and just giving of life and you're just soaked with the waters. It's like soaking ourselves in Torah. I love it. That's the image. Every time we say that prayer, that's the image I have, is just diving into the ocean. It's so wonderful. Oh, so good. And I appreciate, second graders, you can learn from anybody. Let's continue now with a little Psalm 150. If you have the books, we're on page 188, I believe.
That's a good one. 188. The words are easy for you along at home. Hallelujah, or as Rabbi Eshel said, Yananai, Yababai. You'll eventually learn the words. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, and Peicott shor. Hallelujah, birkiyahuzo. Hallelujah, bikurotav. Hallelujah, erohu lo. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Peicott Shabbat. Hallelujah, never Hallelujah, Betofu Makor. Hallelujah, baby, that was God. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Betzitzelei Shabbat. Hallelujah, Betzitzelei Truah. Golat Shabbat, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Last time, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. So just as Rabbi Eshel was talking about that moment at the beach where you kind of put your feet into the water and then you maybe go up to your thighs and then you just dive right into the cold water. That's basically the way our service is structured. We start with Birchot HaShachar, blessings of thankfulness and miracles. We move into Pezukah Zimra with song, warming up our bodies and our voices. And now we're about to just dive headfirst into the water with our official Shacharit prayer service. And that begins with the Baruch Hu. We all join together as one. I invite you, if you're able to rise from home, as we all come together. And now we warm up our souls.
Cantor Peicott.
Yes.
When you said please rise again, this is so great. It's something that I've started to use. It's when I was with at another service, and the rabbi said, rather than rise, if you just to sit up a little taller in our chairs.
I like that. That's like
right?
this new way, because I can never actually stand up because then I'll be out of frame. But to sit up a little taller.
Isn't that nice?
I like that. Oh, I'm going to take that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's yours, please. Yours.
Okay, so let's all sit up a little taller in our chairs as we dive deeper into our prayer experience. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yadalai, lai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? And now that we've all come together in prayer, it's time that we join as one to recite the words of the Shema. I work in the schools with the Boulevard Elementary School, and one of the things that we try to instill when learning about the Shema, from ECC, you start with sh, so that they put the sounds together. But you eventually end up with them closing their eyes and trying to listen to the sounds around them. And one of the things that they really enjoy trying to do is to try to still themselves so much that they can hear the sound of their own heartbeat. So I'm going to invite us all at home to close our eyes and just try to still our bodies and clear our mind and listen for that ba-bum, 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 as we all begin to recite the words of the Shema together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. We join together in the words of the Ve'afta. Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha bechol lebavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. So, Rabbi Eshel, I just had this thought for the first time as I was chanting the Ve'ahavta. And you had talked about, the La'asot B'divrei, that you heard it in a new way. And ever since you've heard it that way, you'll always hear it forever and ever. And I was thinking about the words of the Ve'ahavta, which mostly talk about action. But the big part at the end is the idea that we have the mezuzah on our doorpost to remind us that when we leave our houses, that we also have to uphold the same amount of holiness in our house. And during this time, it's all mixed. Our business is happening in our homes. Our family is happening in our homes. There's literally no separation. And forever, the Ve'ahavta, the words of that, it's going to resonate with me to remind myself of this time when our business dealings, our personal dealings, it all took place within that holy, shalom bayit, that peace of the house. So even, down the line, God willing, when we can go back to our lives, our personal lives and our work lives will forever be affected by the fact that it all took place within the home. And that just was kind of like an aha moment to me just now with the words of the Ve'ahavta.
That's beautiful. I wonder if that will blur the lines then even more so where the opposite is true, where maybe the outside will feel
more like home,
more like a home as well, as we go out to kind of re-explore and see the world differently with new eyes and feeling connected to it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it in terms of like our own work. When we're on Zoom calls, like we now have an intimacy with like what your living room looks like, what my living room looks like, my baby crying in the background. Like you've become a part of my home.
Yeah. Wow. It's beautiful.
But anyways, I thought about that as though I was saying the words, and I wanted to share that with everyone today.
Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Thanks. So of course, what we're going through right now is a journey in itself, and it's not like our people were unfamiliar with difficult journeys. And so we come to the words of the Michamocha, the Song of Freedom, and it is a song of freedom because we're told that this is what the Israelites exclaimed as they crossed, from slavery into the new land that held unknown opportunities. But what this song also is, it's a song of peoplehood, of coming together as one. Because when they were slaves in Egypt, they didn't know their identity. They didn't really know each other. But once they overcame that obstacle and they walked through the sea and they had that combined faith, that's the building of the Jewish people. And so this time that we're going through right now, that's so difficult and there's so many challenges, that when we get to the other side of that we won't just be united as a Jewish people, we will be united as citizens of the world, as children of God, the same way that our ancestors were. So this is a video of Mi Chamocha, because one of the challenges for a cantor is that we can't make music with other people when we're on Zoom or on StreamYard, and we can't do it in person yet in a safe way. And so we've had to come up with all of these new ways to try to record from home and video from home, and use all of these online platforms to our advantage. And in effect, it's made us stronger in what it is that we're able to accomplish and the ways that we want to portray prayer and music in this very strange times. So this is the prayer, Mi Chamocha, redemption song, the song of us all coming together as one.
Oh, mi chamocha, ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha, nedar b'kodesh, oh, nora tehilot, won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? They're all I've ever had. Redemption song. Oh, mi chamocha, ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha, nedar b'kodesh, oh, nora tehilot, oh, seifele, nora tehilot, oh, seifele. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption song, these songs of freedom. Oh, mi chamocha, ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha, nedar b'kodesh, oh, nora tehilot, oh, seifele, nora tehilot, oh, seifele. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption song, these songs of freedom, redemption song, these songs of freedom, redemption song, these songs of freedom.
I don't know if there's something wrong with my jaw. His jaw is dropped.
Dropped.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I was kind of speechless there. It's so, you're talking about this and creating new ways, but it's also like looking at the foundation, right? It's like overlaying tracks. Everybody's doing their own thing and then putting it all together as if you were in a studio, but this is like the city is your studio.
City.
Right? I mean,
my garage is my studio.
Well, your garage.
But it's amazing because normally, for services, they'd show up, they do the service, they'd leave. And then I'd see them the next time for services. Yeah. And we have to constantly interact. We're constantly talking to each other, the musicians. And it's bonded us in a way that I never really thought possible. And I think that just is kind of the overarching theme of this entire experience of the last 8 months.
But also for artists that you all are, right? I mean, it's another way to gain inspiration, right? To kind of push you out of that lull of show up, we play, and then we'll see you again next week, right? Now it's like, ooh, it's an opportunity for artists and really creative people to churn those creative juices. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much for putting that together and really for sharing that with all of us, Cantor Peicott and the band, for sure. I think Sam needs to get a haircut. I mean, it looks, you could tell that's definitely quarantine hair that he has, but I love it. I mean, I do love it. All right. So why don't we're going to continue now together with the Amidah, the central part of our prayer service, this personal experience within the collective. And we'll continue, if you have your books with you, we are on page 205. Otherwise, the words of the screen.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu b'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Ve'Zocher Chazdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidom Elach Melech Beini Tumechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'neheman Ata Lehachayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Nekadesh et Shimcha ba'olam Kishem Shemati Shimoto Bishmei Marom Kakatuv al yad Nebiecha V'kara zel ze ve'amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzebaot Meloch ol haaretz Kevodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Madir Shimcha bechol haaretz Baruch Kevod Adonai Bimkomo Echad hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Vehu Yashmienu Berachamav Leinei Kol Chai Ani Adonai Elohechem Yimloch Adonai Leolam Elohai Zion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Nagir Godlecha Ulenetzach Netzachim Kerushatecha Natish V'shivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu Lo Yamush Leolam Va'ed
Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. This week's Torah portion is Lech Lecha. This is the beginning of the Jewish journey. Abraham is told by God to leave everything that he knows and to follow and go to a land and to a place that God will show him. And each of us is on a journey. And sometimes that road can be very broken. Abraham's story has a broken road in order for him to get to where it was that he was intended to be. But I wish for all of us that whether the road be or narrow, that we see the blessing that's in each one of our journeys. The words of Lechi Lach by Debbie Friedman. Lechi Lach to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, and I shall make your day great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to a place that I will show you. Lesimchat Chayim, Lesimchat Chayim, Lesimchat Chayim, Lechi Lach. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. And we should all be blessings. Lechi Lach.
We now continue with our Torah service.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael bikedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai ונרוממה שמו יחדיו. As I said earlier, this week's Torah portion, we're in the book of Genesis, and it's Lech Lecha, the beginning of Abraham's journey. I just want to do a quick shout out because I saw a really sweet thing on Facebook, if I can point to it. Ellen Sugarman, this is the 44th anniversary of her bat mitzvah. It's so fitting, Ellen, that you read Lech Lecha, all about journeys, because you've had this amazing journey to your career as the incredible cantorial soloist that you are. So happy that you're with us this morning. For those of you, if you're following along in the Torah portion, we are in chapter 12, verse 1. But first, I want to invite everyone to join me in the blessing before the reading of Torah. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, venatan lanu et torato, Baruch atah Adonai Noten haTorah. Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Avram, Lech lecha me'artzecha umimoladetecha umibeit avicha el haaretz asher areka ve'esecha legoy gadol va'avarechecha va'agadla shemecha veheye beracha va'avarcha mevarchecha umkalelcha aod venivrechu vecha kol mishpechot ha'adama vayelech Avram kasher diber elav Adonai vayelech atolot ve'Avram ben chamesh shanim ve'shivim shana betzeito mecharan. And we join together in the blessing after the reading. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Beautiful. And of course, Mazel Tov to Ellen. Yeah, Ellen, let us know a little bit ahead of time, and then you should be up here chanting.
Yeah, we could have you on here
next year for the 40. What is it? For the 45th. For the 45th next year for the 45th. Right? I love it. What do you think, Ellen? Write it back in the chat if you're in. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this because this is a little bananas. This idea is a little bananas. Let's just put it into context. What's going on here? So, okay, Abraham and Sarah hanging out in Haran, doing their own thing. It's a fabulous day. Abraham's walking around, minding his own business. It's just a beautiful day outside. Sun is shining. Not unlike today. Beautiful sun is shining, and God says to Abraham, "All right, Abraham, I want you, right? I want you and Sarah. I want you to pack up your stuff, right? And I want you to leave your home, the only home you have ever known, the only land you have ever known, right? They're your father's, everything. And I want you to go to a brand new place. You're going to go on this adventure." Now, here's the thing, right? Abraham and Sarah were not that young. Right, they were already there. It's like they were the age, like they were getting up there, 70s, 80s, 90s. This is like grandparent age, maybe even some great-grandparent. I mean, they're not these young people ready to go on these adventures. But God asks them to just pack up their stuff and go. And here's the kicker. That God's not even going to tell them where they're going. Not even going to tell them where they're going. Just get up and start walking, right? Get up and start walking. And you would think, you ask it like, wait a second, look. Abraham and Sarah, they're like, all right, we understand. We don't have any children. We weren't blessed with that, but we've had a good run. Really great life, place to live, family, friends, stuff. We're good, right? We're comfortable. Let's just go on this adventure, and we don't even know where we're going, into the unknown, right? When I was telling this story to the kids the other week, I was like, Abraham and Sarah going into the unknown, right? And I was like, you think Elsa was the first one to go into the unknown? Wrong, incorrect, right? It was Abraham and Sarah. And 99 times out of 100, people would be like, no, I'm good. I'm going to stay right where I am. But they said, all right. They said, let's do this. Let's go into the unknown on this adventure. If God's going to let us know. All right. We're going to take a time out with that. Cantor, Peicott, Jess, Tess, maybe you want to jump on with us a little bit?
Oh, boy.
I know. Oh, boy.
A question of the day.
Question of the day. Well, I don't know about question. Now,
I made it myself.
Look, I guess you didn't. Now, maybe it's not like pack up our stuff and go to a place where, a land where God will show us it, but we don't know where we're going. But, we've all made these choices in our lives to jump in and go into the unknown. I mean, even just knowing all of you, I could even name a couple of things, right? I mean, like, Cantor, Peicott, how did you, make the decision to go to New York, right, and follow that and with opera, and then make the decision to come back to Los Angeles, and then, right, make the decision to go to cantorial school and try these things, right? Jess, how did you make the decision to go into the TV world, but then make the decision to leave the TV world and come to the temple world, right? And Tess making the decision to follow this dream of being a filmmaker and an editor. I mean, and you were a writer. You were creating stuff in journalism, and then going off on your own, and then getting this other kind of opportunity, but then saying, you know what, I want to have a little bit more freedom to let my creative juices flow, and then go off and do my own things, right? How did you make that decision? How did you actually physically get yourself to do that? How? Think about it. How did you actually get yourself to go into the unknown? What is it? What was it? Think about it. Jess, what do you think? What was it? How were you able to make that decision and then actually do that? Jess, what do you think?
I don't know. I think it was something that you just feel it. It's kind of like your gut telling you. I also think, at least in my case, when I was younger, I was more fearless in a sense. So I was kind of like, okay, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Especially with TV, because I knew that it was going to be crazy. And then when I left, it was just something that my heart wasn't in it anymore. So it's like when your heart's not in it, you sort of have to think of a different path. So that's kind of like
okay.
How
so
I
there's a thing. There's the rubber there, because there's that tipping point, because you can feel it, but you may not actually do it, right? You could feel it, but you may not actually do it. There's a tipping point. So I want to know, what is that? What's that tipping point? What is it that helps us? I don't know, Lisa. What do you think? Cantor, Peicott. Sorry, Cantor, Peicott? What do you think?
My name is Lisa. That's
no, I know.
What is that tipping point? I mean, there's the side of it that's the gut feeling, which Jessica talked about. which depending on what your theological understanding is, that could be some kind of, divine inspiration or something showing you that you're just kind of stuck where you are, and that you have to make a change. For me, I had to make that change very fast. It was something that had always kind of been in the back of my mind, but I had worked so hard as a voice major to study opera and do auditions and all of the hours of practicing that I had put into it, that it almost seemed like, well, of course, this is where the journey is supposed to end for me. And then when I had that realization that my heart wasn't in it, I didn't like being away from home, I wanted to have some more substance in my life's journey, like I made that change overnight. Like there was no sitting around. Like I just either had to do it or it was never going to happen. And that like Google search of like, what are my local cantorial schools? Great. There's one in LA. Great. I'm going to call them. Great. I'm going to go demand that I go see someone, Friday before 3:00 because I'm going to arrange so that my interview is the next Monday. Like it was just, it had to happen that fast in order for me to have that transformation.
You still didn't answer the question. Uh-oh. Because all of that is still, no, I'll give you a hint. You actually kind of did answer the question a little bit.
I just don't know the answer.
Wait, what's this? Oh, look at what your mama said. Boom. Okay.
That's true.
Okay. So no. Because now we're getting somewhere. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. Because you did mention it a little bit in what was going on in your brain, but it's still, I love it. Grandma. Go. Okay. Tess. What actually, how do you make that decision? Like, how did you make that leap? How did you make that first step? What gave you that?
I mean, it's such a good question. I'm nervous because it's going to answer like Lisa. And I'm like, yes, ditto, but she didn't answer the question. So apparently I thought she did. But I think, I think it's also having the support of my family. Yeah, they've always told me like, do whatever you want. And I always have that safety boundary. So I don't feel too scared. I like to be a little nervous and I don't like the routine of being too comfortable. So I think pushing myself to the edge makes me happy.
All right. Check it out. This is beautiful. Because you're all right there. Like you're right there with Abraham and Sarah. They were like, should we like, what is that thing? What is that nudge? What is that internal push? What is that? Okay. Now, here's where I find it. And an answer or the beginnings of the answer is in their names. Abraham and Sarah. Like, actually, when we're reading this story right now, their names aren't Abraham and Sarah. Did you know that? Their names aren't Abraham and Sarah. It's Avram, it's not Abraham and Sarah. It's Avram and Sarai. Avram and Sarai. Okay, now check it out. Here's what happens. When they're making this choice and they go, this is where their names are changed. This is a fundamental kind of change in who they are as people and where they're going. God literally inserts the letter Hey into their names, changing their names right here. Literally inserts the letter Hey. What's the letter Hey? Besides being a fifth letter in the Hebrew alphabet, it is another way of writing God's name, right? It's another way of writing God's name. So in their names, God has like literally placed God within who they are as people. It says it in their names, right? It's no longer Avram, it's now Avraham. It's no longer Sarai, it's Sarah, right? That the Hey is there. God is there. That kind of inspiration, knowing that God is going to be there with them on their journey. It's like that support. They know that they're going to have each other. They know they're going to have the support of God. And, depending on how one's understanding of what God is, that it is that relationship between us as individuals and the support of the people that we surround ourselves with. But that's the exact right thing. Cantor Peicott, you said I was missing home, but you weren't missing necessarily a physical place, right? You're missing the people and all of like the what the physical place represented, that support, right? Jess, I mean, also knowing that you had the support of your beautiful family, right? And knowing that they were all over the world and how close that you all are, right? And Tess, you said it too. It's that foundation. You weren't jumping off into the unknown from a rocky foundation, right? Like, whoa. No, you were jumping off into the unknown from something solid that you could always come back to. Like, because when we fail, right? I've tried so many different things and I've come back, but I was able to pick myself up because I knew that I had the support of my family and my friends who were always going to be there for me, with me, to both encourage me, to be honest with me, and to like your late grandmother, give you that nudge, right? To know that you're going to always be with you. So look, we could talk about that for in terms of where we are now in our lives. We are really in the unknown. What's going to happen next? Come on, 2020. What else is going to happen? Jumping into the unknown. But how are we going to get through that? How are we going to go on this journey, continue on this journey? It's by surrounding ourselves with the people who love us and who we love, right? Who will be there to support us, to be their foundation and to help us, that we're not on this journey alone, right? That's the key. That is the key, right? Abraham and Sarah knew it even just by the changing of their names. And we know it too if we remind ourselves that we're not in this alone. And this is beautiful. So, as I guess my ending blessing and thing that I want for all of us is to make that active choice, decision, seek it out, to surround yourself with people who will always be there for you and with you and support you as we all continue on this journey into the unknown. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach, Rabbi. Beautiful.
Ooh.
Thanks, Tess and
Thanks,
Jess.
Tess and Jess. I love it. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot there. But I love just being able to chat and hang out with everybody. It's beautiful. Now I think is a good opportunity for us to think about the people in our lives, right? Some of those people who are our support system and who we can be the support system for as well, who may be in need of healing, of healing, whether that's mental healing, physical healing, spiritual healing. And if you're thinking of anyone today, I invite you to say those names in your hearts, or you can even add them to the chat as we continue this Misha Berach prayer for healing.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Visheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. You're muted, Rabbi.
I was so proud of myself that I almost got through the whole service without doing that once. But
a service with you if it wasn't. It's like,
you're right.
We got to keep it strong.
But you know what? I I really, I appreciate you for being there, my support as I go into the unknown of this technology. That you're like, just to let you know, you're muted. That was fabulous. Thank you.
Always and forever.
We take all of those names that we shared into all of our hearts, and may they all have a complete and full healing. And let us all say Amen. All right. So before we start to conclude, just a few brief announcements. So for those of you who may not know, I am a very big camp person, camp supporter. I've been, going to our summer camps for years and years and years, and I am a big believer in the power of Jewish summer camp. We are tomorrow. I don't know if you know this, Cantor Peicott. There's a oh, there it is. The Tour de Summer Camps tomorrow. We're going to be riding. We've been raising money to send kids to camp, right? Now more than ever, I think our kids need that opportunity to go away and grow and to heal from the situation that we're all in. And at the same time, it is not cheap to send our kids to camp. So we're trying to raise some money. And tomorrow, over the last few years, it's actually been an in-person ride, right? Where we've been riding all over Simi Valley, 10 miles, 36 miles, 180 miles, these rides. But now this year, we've been doing it virtually. A lot of us have been riding on our Pelotons or our indoor bikes, or riding our bikes ourselves in our neighborhood and logging the miles. And, just to bring awareness to the necessity of camp. And we have the opportunity to continue the donation. We're actually almost at our goal. Our camp team, right, the Wilshire Boulevard camp team, made a goal of $36,000 to raise, and we're at 34,500 something. So we're almost there. And actually, we can donate all the way through to November 5th, I believe, November 5th. We have, Merle's going to be there. Merle's family's there. Ellen's with us. We're all, camp people raising money. So if you are up for it, think about donating to camp. Jess, can we put up that website to donate after Shabbat? Once Shabbat is over, you can donate to that. Let's see right there. Is the website. How about that website that I sent you a little earlier? Almost there. Think about it. But also, speaking of, there it is. Tonight after Shabbat, tourdesummercamps.org for our team WBT camp. Speaking of after Shabbat, ending Shabbat. Enter Peicott. Maybe you want to talk about what is happening tonight. What's happening tonight, Cantor Peicott?
Tonight at 7 p.m., Rabbi Joel and I will be doing an online haunted Havdalah. We're going to be, obviously Halloween is a secular holiday. It's not a Jewish holiday, but it is Halloween tonight. And for so many across the United States and in Los Angeles and in our cities, Halloween has been canceled. And so we wanted to offer, of course, the closing of Shabbat with the ritual of Havdalah. But we also wanted to share a little bit of a Jewish lens looking at Halloween. So we're going to be looking at our own traditions, best ghost stories, demon stories, stories of which is you name it. It's in the Torah, it's in the Talmud, it's in the Midrash. And we're going to get all into it tonight, 7 p.m., Haunted Havdalah on Facebook or on the Wilshire Boulevard Temple page.
Boo!
Boo!
Did I get you?
Boo!
Scared you. That's a little haunted Havdalah. And then at the end, what do we get to say at the end?
Shabbat Tov.
Oh.
I can't take credit. That is all Jessica.
See that? Oh,
Jess.
Jess.
All Jess. That is all
That's
Jess.
Impressive.
A very Shabbat Tov to us all.
I love it.
So 7 o'clock.
Yeah, please. So join us. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay, so now we're going to take the time to think about those in our lives who are no longer with us. In a moment, you will hear the names of those who have died in the past 30 days. followed by the names of those whose memorial, their yortzeit of their death, fell during this past week. We also take into our hearts and our minds all of those who have died defending the United States of America, those who have died defending the state of Israel, all of those who have died senseless acts of terror around the world, all of those who have died COVID-19, and all of those who have no one to say the mourner's Kaddish, the mourner's prayer for them. So if you're thinking of anyone today, I invite you to afterwards to share those names either in your hearts and also in the chat as we will then continue with the mourner's Kaddish. But first, some names of reflection.
Pauline Abrahams, Marilyn Brown, Derek Gerson, Samuel Goldfarb, Monty Gordon, Marshall Katz, Edna Stearns, Jack Stearns, Fritzy Wernig, Bob Whitman, Morris Abrams, Paula Almond, Joel Amarilla, Arlen Andelson, Matt Barish, Rose Barshap, Bernard Bash, Benjamin Block, Richard Block, Sarah Blum, Blanca Baum, Alan Capel, Gil Cates, Ruth Channon, Bernard Chapman, Irving Cohn, Anna Lee Dreyer, Philip Engel, Cynthia Appel, Stephen Fine, Dorothy Foreman, Bernard Good, Anne Hale, Max Immergluck, May Eisenberg, Simon Jacobs, Harry Kaplan, Estelle Katz, Hortense Kaufman, Bertha Kleinman, Bridget Krausen, Sarah Kurtzman, Ellis Lansbaum, Lucille Landau, Ida Lieberman, Ida Lippy, Samantha Mack, Robert Markowitz, Rose Mayo, Eudice Mason, David Meekdahl, Barbara Miller, Bamin Misagian, Beverly Mitchell, Helen Mittler, Jack Moyer, Carol Neustadt, Ellen Parker, Sherman Paisner, Samuel Pensick, Harold Perliter, Adele Pollock, Joseph Reams, Ira Ressler, Mildred Rodstein, Benjamin Rosenbaum, Erwin Rosenblum, Mildred Roth, Barbara Rowan, Mary Schultz Blitzer, Raymond Schwartz, Nathan Sills, Trudy Stark, Edna Stein, Max Stoller, Alfred Strasburger Jr., Richmond Tallman, Samuel Taub, Vadim Charfis, Joanne Troy, Henry Uhlendorf, Milton Weintraub, Rita Yates, Faye Zimmerman.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעומד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ומעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום בברומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
We conclude our service this morning with the words of Oseh Shalom. What we've taken from this week's Torah portion is that no matter what the journey that we're forced to take or that we're faced with, that with the support of our friends and our family and our community and with the support of God, that we can find our ways to peace.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Beautiful Shabbat Shalom. So before Motzi and Kiddush, before Kiddush and Motzi, just a big Toda Rabba, big shout out. Thank you to Jess and Tess and Hannah, who is on the keys with all of our the chats on YouTube and Facebook and answering all those wonderful things. So thank you, Hannah, for joining us as well. If I could have had you on the video, I would have had you up there too. And I know you also on some fabulous journeys, my friend. So with that, let's continue with little Kiddush and Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
And our challah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Yes. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.